Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to secure a pediatric endotracheal tube using our new endotracheal securement device in our unit. So what you're going to do, ideally you want your patient to be as sedated as possible, because obviously this is a very tenuous procedure, and you're not going to be able to secure the tube very well if the kid is moving around. Okay, so if you can collaborate with your doctor and your nurse to make sure that the patient is as sedated as possible. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your supplies, and this is in our RT supply room, and it's going to come with this little foam pad. You can set it aside. We're just going to be using this for right now. The other thing you're going to need are twill ties, and you're going to need this special tape, and it is not on the burn unit, it's actually in the SICU, and it's this special tape that has the blue 3M on it. Okay. For the tape, I would recommend on the back it's laid out into rectangles. You would need 2 rectangles lengths. Okay, so just cut along there, and that is going to give you plenty of tape to work with. And then what you're going to do is just cut it in half lengthwise. Okay. And that way it's thin enough it's going to go fit around the tube and onto your device. Okay, so now we are almost ready. On our twill tape, I usually do about 2 to 3 hand to elbow lengths, and then I cut. I always like to have extra rather than not enough. Okay. All right, so now we are ready to start. So you always want to have a second person to help hold and manipulate the tube while you are inserting the device. So Kyle, if you will hold the tube for me. We are going to be 15 at the teeth. Okay, now this part can be a little tricky. Okay, so I'm going to insert it with the bite block and this device up. Okay, and it should slide right into the patient's mouth. Now, because of this, I can no longer see, once I secure this, I'm not going to be able to see that I'm 15 at the teeth. So this is the time to make sure that you are still 15 at the teeth. You can look above and see where you are. Okay, so I am still 15 at the teeth. My new marker is going to be where I am at the end point of the device. Okay, so I am just above 18. The 8 is touching where that the end of the device is. So that is going to be my new marker to let me know that I'm still in the right place. Okay, so I'm going to be referring to that as my new marker throughout the rest of this procedure. Okay, so Kyle, yes, if you will continue to hold that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of tape. If I can get it undone. Okay, now I always want to secure the tape to the tube first so that it has a really good hold on the tube itself. And where I'm going to be going is this space in between here, okay? So I'm going to wrap the tape around the tube 1 time. So I'm wrapping it around my 18, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap snugly the rest around the securement device. Now you can give yourself a little courtesy tab if you want, otherwise you're fine, because you should not be changing this part. The nurse is just going to be changing the ties every shift, okay? So Kyle, if you will hold that.
Sure.
Now, the last part of that, that's the trickiest part. The last part is going to be using your twill ties to secure around on the patient. So what you're going to do is you're going to thread your twill ties through this little slot that is on the device. You're going to fold it in half, okay? And so I have 2 ends. one end is going to go above my ear and one end is going to go below my ear. So it should make a little V, okay? I'm going to coordinate with Kyle, and as he holds my tube, I'm going to pass one end through, and then I'm going to pass my other end up under the neck below the ear. So on the other side, it's going to mirror my above and below my ear. So just like that, okay? So now what I'm going to do to finish off is I'm going to thread the other piece through. Okay. And then I'm going to tie. And I'll hold the tube, Kyle, if you will tie that into a knot for me. Perfect. And then just make sure that you can fit 2 finger widths above and below, and then the nurse can always go back and put the padding that is appropriate for the patient. Last thing you always want to do to check is make sure that you are still, your number is still where you left it, which it is, and you can always also tape both sides to make sure that the tube has not migrated. And that's it.